the rehearsal list of Springsteen's concert tonight in Spain as he returns. So we know, but Harry's not there to listen to it. And so he's in Phoenix sweating, as you were sweating in Las Vegas. Apparently you and Phoenix are having a competition on what could be the hottest city on the country.
I didn't think that Harry missed a show, so this is a revelation to me. But I do feel for him. Arizona, they get about like 5 to 10 degrees hotter than we get here in Vegas. So every time I complain, I just need to remember, okay, just remember Harry. Remember all of the people out there in Phoenix. So that's in a half an hour. End of the show. We're going to close this hour like we always do on a Wednesday with Why Not Wednesday, looking at some long shot props that could make you want to turn your head and say why not. But where we're going to start here is in the NBA. We got game 3 of the NBA Finals upon us tonight. The Dallas Mavericks return home. They're a 3-point favorite in this one against the Celtics, who find themselves up 2-0 in the set, but could be without one of their stars who just came back to the lineup in Kristaps Porzingis, Michael. So he's technically listed as questionable and day-to-day with a quote rare lower leg injury. The medical term is a torn medial retinaculum, which allows for dislocation of the posterior tibialis tendon. Say that 10 times fast. Shams Charania said, quote, I think there's some hope he's going to warm up and then see if he can play. He wants to play badly. Should we as bettors be approaching this game as if he'll be available, not available? Like, what are the general thoughts? We've obviously seen a line move with this news.
You know, my sense of this is he's not, can he go? I don't think so. I mean, my belief would be, okay, let's handicap the game as if he's not playing, right? Let's handicap it that way, because I think if you don't, I think that's a problem, right? So if you think he's going to, and then how much when they use the word rare, Stormy, around an injury,
yeah,
like, do you really think he can play when you have something that's rare that nobody has seen before? I kind of tend to lean on the other side. I'm not sure that, we know whether it's pain tolerance. There's too many things we're guessing on, right? There's too much we're guessing on.
Sure. And this is a Mavericks team that I know home court hasn't meant a ton in the postseason, but you feel like they're going to need that extra bump after the way that the first 2 games went, even when they had a chance late in game 2, couldn't finish the job. But let's talk further down on the impact of Kristaps Porzingis, because you say, let's try to handicap this with the assumption that he's not going to be available in this one. According to Second Spectrum tracking, Porzingis has allowed the lowest field goal percentage in the paint as a contesting defender. And we know what a great rim defender he is, and we know how good that Dallas was getting to the rim previously in this postseason and in the regular season as well. So because he's been such a matchup problem for them, how much do you anticipate this group being able to take advantage if he's not there?
Well, I think a lot, right? I think that's where, they're going to have to take advantage of it, because to finish the rim and to go after it is critical, is to finish at the rim, and he helps that. But at the end of the day, right, there's no way Dallas wins the game if they continue to shoot below 25% at the three-point line.
Sure.
This is what they have to do, and if they continue to shoot poorly, I mean, they had Boston the other night shooting 26% from the three-point line and lost because they shot 23. We went into this series saying, look, this is all about rebounds, second chance points, and who's hot. We knew Boston had the capability to blow a team out in a game, because if they get hot from the three-point line, watch out. You can't keep up with them. But in the games they don't, Dallas has to win those. And that one the other night at the Garden was for the taking, except the problem was the taking team couldn't take because they couldn't shoot well enough. So for all the rim protection we want to discuss, if P.J. Washington doesn't shoot better, Kyrie Irving hasn't made a 3 all series. If they don't make, Derek Jones has got to be made 1 the other night. Like, you're going to have to make some threes to open up the lane, or else whether Porzingis is in there or not, does it matter?
Sure, but I guess my one combative statement to that is that this is a group that hasn't even been making a lot of those high percentage shots inside either. So it's the combination. You absolutely, right, to your point, need to have it on the outside. But the fact that they've been so good in those easy inside the lane type of shots, and they haven't been been clicking. I think that's critical for them in this spot. Since the trade deadline, the Mavs offense ranked second in field percentage on dunks and layups. They also had 54 lob dunks for the first 3 rounds, which was the most any team in the postseason had the past decade. So that's an area that was their bread and butter that they were counting on that they haven't had. And I think that just goes back to the impact of Kyrie Irving, which has not been there, and all those role guys that you just laid out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key. And when Kyrie doesn't shoot well, the role guys don't shoot well, and all of a sudden everything falls on Luka's lap. Look, one thing, too, when Luka got inside the paint, he sees Porzingis who can protect the rim. Usually when Luka he's so big when he gets in there, not many people are going to be able to bother him. But Porzingis did. I think it's fascinating. Early in the game when Porzingis didn't start, the game looked kind of even, the teams. But once Porzingis has come in and Holiday, the way he plays, makes it really challenging. Look, I think the difference in this game is the flexibility defensively of Boston. Their ability to switch, their ability to have a lot of multidimensional players who play the game selflessly and don't care who gets the credit.
So let's also look from an injury standpoint at Luka Doncic, who needed a pain-killing injection before Game 2. The report is he's going to need another one today. While offensively, the points have been there, defensively, he's been getting blown by a ton. He hasn't looked the same. He certainly looked injured. For a game that feels must win, and I know we use that phrase so liberally in sports, but this situation, it really, really feels like that. If they want to have a chance and extend this series, how important is he being at his best as well?
I think that's the most critical aspect of the night, right? I think that's where it's all going to start and end, is if he doesn't play to the level we've seen him play in the past series, how can they win? I mean, we were counting on this as going in the series when we all were handicapping it. I think, to me, that everybody on Dallas has to raise their level of play.
All right, Michael, these last few minutes of our opening segment want to give you the floor for what's on Michael's mind, what's top of mind, and what are you thinking about today?
Well, I think today's NBA world got rocked. As the second time in 3 weeks we lose Bill Walton, and then today the heartbreaking news of 86-year-old Jerry West, the logo, the man who's identified on most uniforms before, they put the Bill Russell emblem on, who was also a legend, passed away this morning. It was announced by the Clippers, who he worked for as a consultant. West is an incredible, incredible human being, starting with his early days at Cabin Creek, West Virginia, not making his high school basketball team, eventually becoming a state champion at West Virginia, going on to University of West Virginia, leading the school in points and rebounds. The first pick of then the Los Angeles Lakers, which when they moved from Minneapolis to Los Angeles, winning in 72, not being able to beat Boston for most of his career, and then having an unbelievable career as an executive in the league. To me, every level he improved upon, every level he had Hall of Fame credentials. He could have easily gotten in the Hall of Fame as an executive, as a player, as a college player, as a gold medalist in Rome in 1960. And beyond all that, he was a Hall of Fame person, dealt with depression. He couldn't watch games, Stormy. He wouldn't sit there and watch the Lakers games. He was so kind of into it and so competitive that he kind of had to go in the hallway and in the back and kind of just look at the scoreboard and not watch it, because he was so wrapped up into it. And he fought this depression his whole life, from the abuse that he sustained as a combination of his brother David dying when he was 12 to his father's abusive nature towards him. So, and he shared that in his book, West by West. And he talked about it, which to me is the greatest thing that he's really done, is because it helps other people who have depression deal with their own depression and how do they get out of it and what they do to get out of it. I think that's what he did. He became absorbed in his work. He became immersed in trying to become a great player, then trying to become a great executive, to deal with the depression that he was going through that was a byproduct of his upbringing. Yeah,
and you mentioned he is a Hall of Fame person as well, but he was inducted to the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame in 3 different areas: as a player, as an Olympian, and then later, most recently, as an executive. And to your point, a mental health advocate, did a lot of tremendous things throughout the course of his life and career. He also averaged 37.9 points per game in a 7-game NBA Finals series that they lost, yet he was named the Finals MVP, the only player that's ever had that happen, just adding to another impressive part of his resume and what he's done. Michael, it's interesting for somebody like me. I'm 31 years old, so obviously I didn't get to see Jerry West in his prime and a lot of the different stages of his life. But to think that he has been a defining figure in the sport for more than 2 of my lifetimes shows what a staple and magnificent power he was.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the beautiful thing about YouTube. You can go back and watch him make a 70-footer. I can remember, I think it was against the Knicks. I mean, we weren't getting much games when I was watching the NBA, but the guy had such a smooth shot, and he was incredible. It felt like he didn't miss. And I loved when he defended the older players, Bob Cousy, when J.J. Redick took a shot at him. He instantly knew Redick only averaged 12 points a game. And he wasn't scared to say, who is J.J. Redick to attack some of these players? He never won anything. For West, it was all about winning. West would have told you, for as great as I was as a player, and he was very honest to tell you he was great, winning mattered more than anything. And after a season, he would be in anguish over not being able to do enough to get his team. Only 1 championship in 72 as a player.
Jerry West, the logo, an icon, gone at 86, but will always be remembered. Thanks, Michael, for sharing a lot of that great history and remembering Jerry West. We're going to hit the break. When we come back, mandatory minicamps are ongoing in the NFL. We're going to put Michael's GM hat back on in GM Translator coming up after a quick timeout.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Bonatoni, on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We here at VSiN want to help you out. Start betting smarter with a VSiN Pro subscription. Right now, you can upgrade to our Pro annual subscription for just $199, which is down from our regular price of $240. Plus, we're throwing in an extra month absolutely free when you use our promo code Lombardi. With a VSiN Pro subscription, you'll get exclusive access to premium analysis, expert picks, and advanced betting tools that'll give you an upper hand all year long. And here's the big news. Our NFL betting guide is coming out later this month, 2 weeks from tomorrow. This guide is your ultimate resource for the entire football season, packed with detailed team, division, conference analysis, and breakdowns, and of course, best bets for the year. Don't miss out on this limited time deal. Head to vsin.com/subscribe now. Use that promo code Lombardi to claim your discount and bonus month. Again, that's vsin.com/subscribe, promo code Lombardi. All right, it is time for another edition of GM Translator, because as the NFL's mandatory mini camps roll on, we had 22 of them this week. Lots of players and coaches are stepping up to the podium, and we're trying to make sense of it all. So we're going to have Michael put back his GM hat on and make sense of some of these sound bites, starting with Joe Burrow, who was talking about some of the challenges coming back from his wrist injury. Take a listen.
Whenever the injuries start to stack up, it's your football mortality kind of comes into the back of your mind. So that's definitely something that I've thought about and something that I've had to fight through. It's always a challenge. It always is. But, I'm built for it. Our team is built for it. And the people that I have surrounded myself with have been through it with me as well. So I'm excited about the season. I'm excited about what we're going to do. And I'm excited about all the guys we have in the locker room.
All right, Michael, where does that leave you?
Well, it leaves me that, these injuries are starting to bother him. And he feels like his career is closer toward the end than it is the beginning, even though he's so young. I think that's got to concern you. When you miss games and you miss time 2 years in a row to start a season and you haven't played well, I think it kind of spooks you. And I think his inability to play well early in the year because of the injury, remember, he wasn't throwing it very good. It kind of came to life against Arizona in the second half. But I think this has kind of got him. And I think one of the things you realize as a player, executive, your moments or windows are small. And I got the sense listening to that, he feels like his window is not as big as we all might think it is, that he needs to win quickly.
And, listening to his head coach, Zach Taylor, listening to Jamar Chase, a lot of the sound bites that have come from them talking about Joe Burrow this year is, hey, man, take it slow here in the offseason as we're getting ramped up for the year, because we need you in those most important games down the stretch. Obviously, last year he had the preseason injury, which caused for a slow start at the beginning of the year, and then the injury to the wrist that ended his season. The Bengals are the second shortest shot in the division. The Ravens, the favorite. They are sitting there at plus 145. They're also tied for the fifth shortest shot to win a Super Bowl this year at 13-1. So the expectations with the healthy Burrow are that they'll be a contender this season. A team that would like to be a contender but has just proven to be a pretender year after year is the old Dallas Cowboys, and Dak Prescott was asked about the urgency of him entering a contract year. Take a listen.
This is the urgency you should always have, to be honest. So maybe guys who normally wouldn't feel it. So I don't mind it. Been in this position before. I'm a gambling man. Will gamble on myself and my guys. So not actually, guys. I understand it. I understand there's been a lot of shit with that. So. Not that way. Just so yeah. That being said, yeah. There you go.
In 2024, Michael, that is an important distinction. But what do you think of what Dak had to say there?
Well, I mean, one thing about Dak is getting to the point where he's becoming the new Kirk Cousins. Like, it's about all. I know he says it's not about my contract, but it's about his contract. Other than Deshaun Watson, he eats up most of the cap, and he's talking about, well, I'll worry about that. You know, I'm a gambling. What are you gambling? You're one of the highest paid players in the league that's never won a playoff game. I mean, seriously, what are we gambling here? You know, he knows someone's going to pay him. There is no gamble. Either Jerry's going to pay him or some team like Atlanta will pay him, or, you know, another team that needs a quarterback. So when I listened to that, I just shook my head and said, at some point, when do you talk about winning? When do you talk about winning a conference championship? When do you talk about getting to the Super Bowl? On the day of Jerry West's death, you know, all we can think about is all the personal awards that West has won and how he just couldn't beat the Celtics. And it drove him insane. He was emotional about it. Every offseason was this pit in his stomach, because even though he played well and he was the best player, I mean, there was a time where John Havlicek went up to him and told him what a great player he was. But you know, he didn't want to hear it because they lost. Like, I want that from Dak. I don't want that. I'm a gambling man. Gambling what? How about winning a Super Bowl?
To be fair, I did like his comments a few weeks back when the Mavericks obviously were in the conference finals. The Dallas Stars were in the conference finals. The Texas Rangers are coming off a World Series win. And he said, I like that does put more pressure on us to go out there and win it all. It makes you that much more hungry. But with this, yeah, he's betting on himself personally that he's going to get paid at the end of next year in a big way, regardless of what happens with the contract this year. So, you know, that's the personal side of it. And if he does become a free agent, he will secure that, you imagine. Okay, let's move along here. Another quarterback, though, one who has shifted teams. I cannot wait for you to hear Russell Wilson, who is vibing. He is glowing in his new aura in Pittsburgh.
I feel the fountain of youth, man. I feel revived in every way, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I feel confident. I think that at some point you got to know who you are, as a player, as a man, as a competitor, as somebody who's been fortunate to be able to play in this game. I don't doubt it, I just trust it. I felt really good last year playing, I felt really confident in the midst of everything. And so I think right now I have all that confidence times 10.
We always got to try to see through what Russell Wilson is saying. So give me the GM translation.
I don't have one. I mean, what's he talking about? He just got paid a boatload of money by Denver. He didn't have any of that when he arrived in Denver. Like, what are we does he not think we record this stuff or remember it? 2 years ago, he got traded for a boatload of picks. He got paid a king's ransom. He wasn't happy then? I mean, I don't know. Like, all of a sudden, you get cut and someone else is paying all your money, and now you found the fountain of youth and utopia? I mean, it's a crock of crap. It really is. Like, stop it. Don't insult me. Like, stop, okay? Just go play good. Don't tell me how everything's perfect. Don't paint the house. Just go win. Just go win a game. Like, at some point, when does somebody say, Russ, enough is enough? This isn't an act. I mean, seriously. Like, what he got? How much more money could he have gotten? I mean, I mean, based on his play in Denver, they got guys sitting in jail that did more. You know what I mean? Like, he robbed them for a lot of money. Their own fault. Trust me, their own fault. He deserved it. He got it. I'm not complaining. But don't give me this crap. Well, I feel rejuvenated. I'm energized. How aren't you? You got one coach fired. You got another coach coming in who won a Super Bowl. You said the same thing when he came in. Come on.
Revived in every way.
Piss me off,
mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I was just waiting for a Steelers country. Let's ride. Okay, let's move on to one more here. Yeah. Indianapolis Colts young quarterback Anthony Richardson. The headline from him the past couple days was that he thinks playing in the NFL is easier than college. But the full soundbite is what you need to hear for context. Here's Anthony.
See, playing in the NFL, I feel like it's easier than college. For real, because like in college, you got players that's like they good, they know they good, but they're not as confident. You know what I'm saying? They got to rely on other players to do this for them to do that. But in the league, everybody trying to work to stay in the league. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep their job. Everybody trying to ball out.
For sure.
So that just let me know I ain't got to do too much. I just got to do my job.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he gonna do his job, and it's gonna work.
If you're a Colts fan, do you like hearing that, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I think he's right. Everybody's accountable, and you got to get confident. And he's got to blend that confidence into the team based on the way he plays. Everybody's confidence goes up when the best player on the team plays well. Then you don't think you're beatable. When you get in that huddle with Patrick Mahomes, you don't think that team's confident, even though their two tackles might not be able to block anybody? There's a sense that confidence is spread. And you've got to be able to do that. And I think everybody has a job to do. And they've got to be able to work to stay in the league, like he said, and keep their job. You got to play. Everybody's accountable for their performance. There's no days off here. You got to work.
I absolutely understand the rationale behind the comments. But, dude, you only played 4 games in the league. Like, let's relax here. Just take a second before you say that this is easier. I feel a lot better. I'm that much more confident. Like, let's get a season out of you first. No?
No question. But, look, that's not the world we live in. Everybody's an expert without experience.
True that. As it pertains to the AFC South, the Houston Texans are an even money favorite. Jacksonville plus 275. And there are those Indianapolis Colts sitting plus 310. We're going to hit the break. When we come back, Harry Gagnan of the Against All Odds podcast is going to join us. He's got plays for Game 3 in the NBA Final tonight. He's got a Stanley Cup Final same game parlay. We love it. We'll see him in a bit. We'll be right back.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Buonantony, on VSiN, the sports betting network.
From groan-worthy dad jokes to patching up skinned knees, your dad is one of a kind. This Father's Day, give him a gift that's guaranteed to take him to his happy place. Omaha Steaks, packages starting at $99 when you go to omahasteaks.com and use our promo code VSiN at checkout to get $10 off your order. Show your dad the love he deserves with a gift as unforgettable as he is. Visit omahasteaks.com and again, use that promo code VSiN, VSIN at checkout. Who doesn't love a good dad joke? Michael, I'm going to hit you with one real quickly. Why do seagulls fly over the sea?
Why do seagulls fly over the sea? To see, I don't know, Stormy, tell me.
Because if they flew over the bay, they'd be bagels. Badoomch. Okay, moving on. As we welcome...
Or a bialy. Could they be a bialy?
Ooh,
Have you ever had a bialy in your life?
I have not, but I have always wanted to.
Yeah, well, you have to come to Jersey. They're good here. The bialys are great.
It's on the radar. I need all that Jersey, Ocean City food love, Michael.
You need a bialy and you need a Taylor pork roll sandwich. Like, those are the things. That's what you're paying. That's what Jersey's offered to our world, besides Sinatra and Springsteen and some other musical, John Bon Jovi, Woodrow Wilson, the list goes on. But anyway, the bagel, the Taylor pork roll egg sandwich in the morning, you can't beat it. You can't. I bet Harry would love it.
That's what I was going to say, all the classics. And our world traveler is with us. He's back home in Arizona right now, but he's tasted food from all over the world. Harry Gagnan, Against All Odds podcast, former sportsbook supervisor, with us on the Progressive guest line. Give us the lowdown, Harry. Have you?
What's up, guys? Yeah, definitely. And by the way, Mike, definitely
There's a place here, and you wouldn't think it. There's a great place here in town that has Bialys, Michael, and they're fantastic. So, guy who loves food, definitely Bialys are it sometimes.
Gotta step my game
Well,
up.
Stormy, just FYI, if you ever go to Phoenix again, Harry will take you. But they do have the best pizza, Bianco Pizza, there in Phoenix. The guy is the Bronx. And for all that conversation about you have to have certain water filtration to have good pizza dough, Chris figured it out. We all went there when the Super Bowl was there, and it's magnificent. One of the best pizzas you're ever going to have.
It is. I'm pals with Chris Bianco, and he's won Michelin awards. He's been fantastic because of his pizza. That's the place to go when you come to Phoenix. You got to go to Bianca.
Harry, I'm going to be covering a lot of Big 12 this year for ESPN College Football. I'll be in your neck of the woods, I'm sure, for ASU games. So I'm hitting you up, and I'm expecting pizza.
Let's do it.
Done deal. But for now, let's get into a little betting talk because we do have Game 3 of the NBA Finals upon us tonight. The Boston Celtics getting 3 in Dallas as the series shifts over there to Mavericks country. What are you looking at here tonight, and how much does the potential Kristaps Porzingis injury impact your handicap on the game?
Well, I knew that he was not going to be questionable for Game 3 after Game 2 here. And I thought, really, when I thought what the line would be personally, I thought it was still going to be Boston -2. They haven't lost a game in the playoffs on the road so far, but it opened Dallas 2. And when I saw that, I think the Mavs are the play. Even though Boston has dominated Dallas, beating them 6 straight times, 5 of them by double digits. And the only reason why it wasn't 6 out of 6 is because of what Luka did last game in the first half. But again, here, I'm going to take Dallas. I think Jason Kidd figures out the right lineup, gets the bench more involved in the matchups in this situation. We all know that Kyrie has to step up. He was awful in the 2 games in Boston with just 16 and 12 points. He's only scored in those last 3 out of 4 games. He scored 16 or less. Really needs to step it up. P.J. Washington, I think, improves on his 1 of 8 from three-point range. Derek Jones has a bigger game, too. Dallas, again, look, what they did against Minnesota was amazing. 4-1. They cruised in that series. Right now, they find themselves down 2-0. I think they get back in the series here. Big game out of Kyrie with Luka being banged up a bit, and Dallas covers the spread and wins, and the series goes 2-1 now.
Do you like Kyrie in this over 25 because Porzingis could potentially be out and the rim protection could be a little bit more easy for Kyrie to get there than as it was when he's there?
Michael, I do. But still, again, we haven't seen him play well. We also know in 2 games he hasn't created himself opportunities to get to the line. You look at the past history in the playoffs so far this year, he's gone to the line 6-8 times in games. He's got 2 free throws total so far. He's got to create opportunities. He's got to knock down those threes when he's open, because he didn't do it in Boston. The fans got the best of him there. This game now is swung to Dallas. He's got to step it up. He's got to help this team out. He's been a superstar his entire career. And let's not forget, he's had 3 30-plus point scoring games when the Mavericks in the first series played the Clippers. Also, he had 3 30-plus games against Minnesota. He's had a 40-point game in the playoffs so far this year. He needs to turn around. It's not like he's not getting the ball either and getting the shots over the Mavs' last 8 games. He's averaging 20 shots a game. He's got to get it done tonight. Got to get Dallas back in the series. At least 25 for Irving. You're getting plus money at plus 110. I really do like that.
Yeah, the points prop is already set at 23.5. Might as well get the plus money on the 25. Love that angle for you, Harry. Harry Gagnan of the Against All Odds podcast. You can find wherever you get your podcast, joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Let's shift gears to the Stanley Cup final on the ice. You're locked and loaded with an SGP for Game 3. What do you have for us?
Sure, why not? Let's do a plus 135 2-legger. I'm going to take the Oilers. Look, Oilers to win the game first. Oilers down 2-0. They really haven't got that offense going. Just 1 goal in 2 games. Bobrovsky's been fantastic, no doubt about it, in net for Florida. 10 of the last 11 games, by the way, Florida games in the playoffs have landed 5 goals or less. So you would think that the under's the play here, but I don't know. I think I'm not going to go with the over because of that stat, but I am going to say that the Oilers pull this game out. They get back in the series, and I also like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to get at least 1 point. You figure Hopkins seems like the forgotten man of the Oilers offense with the emergence of Evan Bouchard and Zach Hyman. Hasn't scored a point in 3 straight games, but He's still a guy who can make an impact, Stormy. In Game 5 versus Dallas, he scored 2 goals. Edmonton has to figure out how to get their offense rolling. Maybe at home, they open things up a little bit. Bobrovsky's due for a stinker. Maybe they get a couple calls early on, set up some power plays, and Nugent Hopkins capitalizes, gets at least a point, sets something up for maybe Draisaitl or McDavid. He gets at least an assist, and the Oilers win the game.
Real quickly here, because I have talked to some reporters who have followed the Oilers throughout the postseason. They said in the conference final, that building was deafening. It was so loud. So you understand why they're a home favorite in that spot, despite being down 0-2 in the set. With the game total set at 5.5 goals, we've gone under both games so far. Do you think that'll be a trend throughout the course of the series? I know you don't have an official play, but does it feel like an under set throughout for you?
Yeah, I think so. And if you're going to look at Conn Smythe, I know Bobrovsky right now is minus 200 to win it. And if this is now, again, if he has a stinker tonight and Edmonton goes on and wins maybe like 5-2 and we finally get an over in this situation, you're still going to figure Bobrovsky's going to be the favorite because, it's only one game. But I think it's going to be set at 5.5, even if we see 7 or 8, which we have seen in the playoffs for Edmonton already a lot of times so far this postseason. But I think that number is set and solid at 5.5, especially when Florida's at home.
All right, let's shift gears to the U.S. Open, which starts tomorrow at Pinehurst, North Carolina. Tough course, 7,500 yards, deep bunkers. It requires a lot of chipping and a lot of putting to be excellent. You like Colin Morikawa to win this thing over Scottie Scheffler? It's a pretty big statement there, the way Scheffler's playing, Harry.
It is. I mean, but again, like I've mentioned before on Against All Odds and other shows that, if you take right now, after Scheffler, what he did last week in Dublin, Ohio at the Memorial, like even if you have Scheffler, you can't even brag about it anymore. You can't even brag about winning a golf tournament because that's all this guy does. That's all he does. So of course, Scheffler is the favorite and well, he should be, but I'm going to roll with Morikawa. You can get him anywhere from 14 to 16 to 1. He does have 2 majors in his career. Best finish in the U.S. Open is 4th. He's 7th in the world rankings. He's been right there in the majors this year, finished 4th at the PGA, 3rd in Augusta. He's playing really well of late. 3 straight top 4 finishes, including 2nd last week at the Memorial, has top 25 finishes in the last 7 tournaments. I think at 14 to 1, with the 14 to 1, 16 to 1, the way he's currently playing, knowing he's got it done before on a major stage, Morikawa, I think he's going to give you a chance to win this come a leaderboard on Sunday.
Harry, you were high on Aubert during the Masters. He ended up finishing 2nd. You like him again in this spot in Pinehurst. How are you playing him?
How about this? How about top Swede at minus 165? I know you got to lay the price here, but I think that's great value for a guy who's finished in the top 15, 5 of his last 6 tournaments, and only has to beat 2 other guys. He's in the top 30 in driving distance accuracy. He's 3rd in total driving. Michael mentioned the course is playing a little over 7,500 yards. That's going to be huge here. Like I mentioned, he only has to beat 2 players. He's got to beat Alex Noren, who's 90th in driving, 131st in driving distance. That's going to haunt him in this tournament. And the other guy is Tim Whiting, who plays on the Korn Ferry Tour. Now, this guy has won back-to-back tournaments this year. Very impressive, no matter what tour you're on. But he did qualify for the PGA in Valhalla, missed the cut. Not worried about him. Alex Noren, the distance of the course is going to be a problem. Ludwig Åberg at minus 165 to be the top Swede. I love this, guys. This should be minus 300 in my opinion.
See, I can say the hockey, the Russian names don't hit me with the Swedes. Well done for you, Harry. Appreciate your time, pal.
Thanks, Harry.
This is the Lombardi Line with former NFL executive Michael Lombardi. Now here is your host, Stormy Buonantony, on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're this close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code VSiN. That's code VSiN, VSIN, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Question. Maybe a stupid one, but I'm just spitballing here.
Can it make you say why not? That wasn't a stupid question.
It's time for Why Not Wednesday.
I mean, why not?
You know when they say it's so crazy it just might work?
Let's get into it. Our handy dandy, lovely producer Elliot has gathered up a round of long shot and plus money props that he thinks could maybe, just maybe, make us tilt our head and say, why not? I'll fire on that one. And speaking of the NBA Finals, let's start right there. The Boston Celtics are an $8 favorite to win the NBA Finals. Got to bet $800 just to win back 100. But with Kristaps Porzingis compromised, potentially unavailable, could you say why not to a plus 550 Dallas Mavericks series ticket to come back from down 0-2?
This hurts. You know I love the Mavericks,
I do.
right? You know I'm rooting for them. I can't say why not to this because I don't think they ever have gotten control. I think this is a St. Jude's play if you play it. I think the Celtics are the better team, and if I'm going to follow my own advice and grade what I see and know that the best teams always win in a 7-game series, I'm going to take Boston. You're not getting me here, Stormy. You're not going to get my heart to play into it. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get my heart into it, and I want to say why not because I'm rooting. But when I look at the games, like, they can't beat them even when Boston doesn't play good. That, to me, is the telltale sign.
You're a realist.
When you can't beat the other team when the other team doesn't play well, you ain't winning.
But you did say earlier in the show you could see this series ending in 6 with Boston up 4-2, which is still a 5-1 price. So if that's the way we angle it, we could still get a why not on a good plus money number there.
There you go. All right. Well, there you go. See, this is where you're so good. You know the betting market's so good. You could shift it around, and I end up getting a checkmate. You're like playing chess with Dominic. He always beats me, the little guy.
I was going to say, we're a dream team, Michael. That's why we're paired up together. Let's stick with the theme of the finals, though, and go to, because I know you've already said you can't believe that Jason Tatum is still the favorite in this market where things sit right now. Drew Holiday, who has been the guy through 2 games to this point, still available at plus 750. Now, I know it's no 50-1 like he was pre-tournament here, but plus 750 to be NBA Finals MVP. Could you say why not? Will he keep this up?
Oh, why not? Yeah, I think so. This is a really good player. Why not? And he's going to keep playing well. And I think the fact that we're talking about it, it's going to start to come out even more. And, I think it'll build some momentum. It'll be somebody else's idea. So why not?
Utility guy. Now, when we had Harry Gagnan on the program a little bit ago, he was talking about how he thinks that this is the game tonight where Kyrie Irving is going to wake up. He liked him to have 25 or more points in the game today. Could you say why not to him being the scoring leader for Game 3 tonight? More points than anyone else. It's plus 650.
Yeah, I could say why not to that. I think he's got to play really well, right? I think he's got to do the things that he's capable of doing that we've seen him do in the past. So, yeah, I could say why not to that. I would say, they need him to play his best game, and why not?
And I think, again, this goes back to the availability or potentially lack thereof of Kristaps Porzingis' presence inside. I think he'll feel a whole hell of a lot more comfortable driving the lane if Porzingis isn't in there, so we'll see. But I love that plus 650, bet 100 to win 650 back. It is U.S. Open week. We're getting underway tomorrow, and Tiger Woods is back in the field. Michael, you've got the red polo on right now, so maybe you'll be down with this. Tiger Woods to make the cut is plus 220. Could you say why not?
No way. I can't.
Or the try.
This is.
I thought you were dressed for the occasion.
I know, but Tiger just. This is a volume course. It's long. It requires a lot of walking. The bunkers are deep. It takes a really good chipping, really good putting. I love Tiger. I hope he does. I'm rooting for him, but that's not a good enough price to make the cut. That's really not. You think that's a good price to make the cut? Would you do that?
Well, it's better than what he was for the Masters and some of those other events where he was even money, plus 120, ultimately got bet to a minus number. So plus 220 for Tiger, honestly, is pretty good considering how many people are probably betting this just to say that they're rooting for Tiger and to have some skin in the game about it. I don't hate it, but I'm with you. This is one where I don't see it happening. The Yukon Huskies this week were able to maintain their head coach. Danny Hurley said no to the Los Angeles Lakers. He has a goal of three-peating. And the odds suggest he's very much possible. They are a co-favorite at 10-1 to win it all yet again in 2024-25. Can you say why not to the Huskies winning one more?
Yes, I could say why not to that. But I also could say we're not done with this story to the Lakers. This story to the Lakers has got unbelievable. There's people all over you talk about a conspiracy about what's happening, what's going on. This is a soap opera at its finest hour. Now, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. However, there are a lot of people that are looking over the film and data from the past shows to where it is. From the May 3rd firing of Darvin Ham to all of a sudden, Hurley's been their lead guy all along and it doesn't get out. There's really something fishy about that. I don't know what it is. I do know that if you're coming heavy to get a coach and you offer 6 years, $70 million in a high-tax state like California, you really didn't come heavy at all. So, look, I'm not saying anything, but I am saying something. There's something here.
And I think
I just don't have enough time to work on it. I'm too busy investigating the Tippett murder in Dallas on the 22nd. I don't have enough time, but I'm going to get to this.
I just think it's so funny because I feel like both parties probably thought that they're so smart in this whole situation, yet everybody from the outside looking in is like, something doesn't smell right. Okay, this is not a good look, actually, but neither here nor there. Let's go back to the NFL, where Deshaun Watson said this week he's feeling like he's in a very comfortable spot. He finally is out there throwing 7-on-7. He's said repeatedly through the offseason program he feels good about his velocity, and the team around him in Cleveland could be built for success. Could you say why not to Deshaun Watson at 20-1 for comeback player of the year coming off the shoulder injury? Thoughts?
Yeah, I could say why not to that because I was at one time a huge fan of Deshaun's, and he has played well. But the 2 years in Cleveland averaging 6.5 yards per attempt have really soured me on his play. But he's there before. As Walsh used to tell us all the time, if we've seen it once, we can get it again. And so why not thinking he could do it again? They've changed the offense. They've done everything for him to make him a better player. They've got 2 more years of this ridiculously guaranteed contract. Even though Amari Cooper's not in camp and not happy, they're going to have to figure that out. I could say why not to this.
And when we asked this question this same time last year at an even higher number, I said no, I can't get there. And I think a large part of that was because of the narrative surrounding Deshaun Watson off the field as well. And I think now that we're so far removed, that sentiment from voters has probably moved away a little bit. So yeah, at 20-1, if he ends up being able to put it together and be 70% of the guy he was in 2020 when he was unbelievable, I think it's very much so in play. Aaron Rodgers is obviously the favorite in this market. Short is plus 125 right now. Joe Burrow, the second shortest shot, at plus 210. Let's go to Broncos country, where they're not riding with Russell Wilson anymore. They drafted Bo Nix, number 12 overall, but he's a $4 favorite to start. Could there be any value on anyone else? Zach Wilson, baby. He's sitting there at plus 450.
Oh.
Could you say why not for him to be the game one starter?
Stormy.
Come on.
This is as bad as there's no chance. Zach, I don't care. I told you, we're working on the ESPN documentary 30 for 30. I never really wanted to be in New York. I didn't like football enough. We're working on that. Seriously, there's no way you're getting me to bet one thing with the name Zach Wilson attached to it yet. It could change. We've seen guys change their behavior, but you're not getting me on this one.
Hell, we had to see this kid step in 4 plays in, and if you were to have bet that last year, he wouldn't have cashed the ticket. Brutal loss there, but no, it's an interesting situation. Jarrett Stidham, of course, also in the room. He's plus 650. Last one here quickly before we have to go. Detroit to be the NFC number 1 seed, 6-1. Could you say why not? Could they get over the mountaintop?
I could say why not to that. Look, they got to make sure all these draft picks hit. I'm not sure they will, but they got to make sure Arnold's as good as they think he is. There's some disconcern there as can he cover man-to-man, but I do think they've addressed their issues. It's all for the taking.
All right. The Zach Wilson one was still fun, though, Michael. I just like to see the question in your eyes, like, why is this woman doing this to me again? Come on, man. No.
I blame it on Elliot. I think Elliot just knows what buttons to push on me. I think that's what he knows. He loves to do that.
Love it when a plan comes together. That's a wrap for us today on the Lombardi Line. For Michael Lombardi, I'm Stormy Bonantoni. Coming up next on VSiN, it's Patrick Maher, Dustin Sweetelson in Sharp Money. And if you're watching on DraftKings, you didn't get enough of your football fill, the Ross Tucker Football Show is next.
DraftKings, giving a bonus bet back if I lose so I don't have to sweat my bet. NBA